I want to show you just a few things about Classwize pretty quickly. First of all, from the Classwize homepage, if I do not want to start and end my class every day, I can go to my classes, I can click on class settings, and go over to the scheduling tab. From here, I can add a schedule for Monday, that it starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 9:30 a.m. On Tuesday, that same class, if I go back to scheduling, on Tuesday, my class can start from 12 noon to 2:30. Again, these are all things that if I have one class from 12 to 2:30 and then I need another class from on Tuesday from 2:30, or let's say 2:45 to 3, I can save this schedule and Classwize will automatically start and end the class at the selected times. But let's go look at this class right now and start it. We'll set it for an hour and show you some cool features about Classwize. On the top, under Rules, if I want to control what my students can access, and I don't want to block everything, I just want to prevent a few rules, then I can click Create Rule. And this rule can control any of the things in these categories. I can click through these options. I can type in specific websites. Let's say that I don't want them on Amazon Prime, which they shouldn't be anyway, due to our filters. I can add that rule. Let's create another rule. Let's say that I don't want them to access the school district website. Okay, type the website in, click Website, add the rule, and during your class, as long as these rules are in effect, these are lasting rules. They don't have to be added every time you start the class, but those rules are in effect, and students will be blocked from these sites during your class time. If I leave the rules section and go to Class Tools now, let's say that I want to focus students onto certain websites. Let's say that I only want them, if I'm giving a test, to be able to access Google Forms. I only want my students to be able to have access to Amplify, to Skyward, to iReady or iExcel. I'm going to create a focus. I'm going to save this focus to my focus library, and I'm going to name it, for example, Focus. I only want my students to be able to access Amplify. I only want my students to access Google Docs and Google Drive. I only want my students to be able to access iReady. I only want my students to access Edmentum, which would be Study Island. I can leave it like this, or I can deselect the Open Tab button. Okay? This way, when students log on, they will only be able to access those 4 websites. If I were to check these, then when students logged on, they would be taken directly to those websites. But I'm going to apply this focus, and now you notice 2 things here. My focus is in focus, and my rules have gone away. That focus that we just created has overridden my rules. So now, for every class that starts, for every class that I have scheduled and this focus is in effect, these students will only be able to see those things. If I go back to my classes, if I go to another class, let's go to this class. If you'll notice, I would need to create rules for this new class. Go ahead and start this class for an hour. But notice my focus would apply here as well. This focus that I created that says active, I could add it to this class as well. So once I create a focus, that focus carries over from class to class to class. These are just a couple of ways that if you need to allow your students to only access certain websites, to cut down on some Googling of answers from them playing games, certainly this focus feature under Class Tools, that is a way to do that. Also, you can share your screen with students. If you'll click the Share Screen button under Tools, you can share all with all students. Select what to share, and you can share your screen with those students. Certainly, because these students are not online, that wouldn't work, but that is how you would share your screen with students. If they say, I can't see, or you want them to see what you're doing, just another layer there to ensure that students can get what they need. So I invite you to go back through this video, take a look at the rules, how we can apply those, how we can look at the class tools for the focus, getting our students where we need them to be, and also scheduling this class where it will stop and end on its own. That way, that's not something we have to make sure that we remember to do for every class and every block. If you have questions, send me an email, let me know. I'll be glad to help.